all master, you know.
Hello, girls.
Well, this woke you up, didn't it? Yeah, this story, it's, well, I think it's my favourite little English folk tale. And I got it from a well-known storyteller named Amy Douglas, who reckons it comes from her own county of Shropshire. But I've always thought it's more comfortable in Herefordshire, for obvious reasons. When you hear it, you'll realise what I'm on about. But Tim Laycock, who's a brilliant, lovely musician and he's a folklorist, he wrote a book a couple of years ago. And in it, he wrote a version of this story which he reckons is from Dorset, again for obvious reasons. But anyway, I'm going to tell it here, as soon as I've had a slurp of my water. Right. The big house, just outside the village, boasted a small orchard. Just an handful of apple trees. But those trees bore the biggest, sweetest, juiciest apples in the whole of the county. Well, it was just getting dark when these two youths clambered over the wall into the orchard. They quickly started to pick the apples. They shoved them in the pockets. They shoved them inside the shirts. They even took the trousers into the socks and stuffed them down the trousers. And when they got as many apples as they could carry, well, they were in no state to climb back over the wall, but luckily with a bolt on the inside of the gate. So they slid the bolt and slipped out onto the road. And then they started to make their way back to the village, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. But all the while, they were looking around them. They were looking for something. And by the time they got down to the village, it was completely dark. And the pale moon was up in the sky. And just as they were going past the church, they noticed that the churchyard gate was open. And they looked in through the churchyard gate, and there they saw just what they were looking for. It was a freshly dug, as yet unoccupied grave. And that's what they were looking for, because what they were looking for was somewhere quiet where they could share out the apples. So as they went in, one of the youths dropped a couple of apples by the gate, and his mate says, "Leave them, we'll get them afterwards." So there they were, sitting in this grave. One for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. And it was just then that this young police constable came down the road. He saw the gate was open. He looked in and he saw the grave. And he heard it. One for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. Well, he turned, his face went as pale as that moon up in the sky. He turned on his heels and ran the short distance back to the police station. He says, Sarge, God and the devil are in the churchyard and they're sharing out the souls. Well, the sergeant had heard it all before, and he slowly got up out of his chair, went over, put his cap on, and said, "Come on, son, we'll soon sort this out." So they went. They got down to the churchyard, they saw the gate open, they looked in and saw the grave. Then they heard it. One for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. And that's the lot. And that's the lot. What about the two by the gate? Oh, we'll pick them up on the way out. Now, them two coppers, they turned and they started running. They ran straight out of that county, whichever county it is. And as far as I know, they're still running now.
Thank you.
Now, over the years,